Hi, I'm Angi and we're going to make chocolate bonbons from scratch today. And when I'm saying from scratch, I really mean from scratch. So we're starting today with the chocolate. You've heard right, we're starting with the chocolate. You could say, why not just simply buy a popular brand for chocolate bonbons and make your bonbons out of their chocolate? Thinking about Varona, Lindt, Guitar, Calibout, right? They all have couverture chocolate, which is popular for chocolate bonbons. Why not just simply do that? And for me, it comes down to control and taste. Control is important to me because I really want to know what goes in my chocolate. Especially in chocolate, it's really important to source your cocoa beans ethically and sustainably. There's so much childhood work, slavery in general happening in the chocolate world that I really want to make sure that I get my cocoa from really good transparent sources. And I have two of those sources down in the description. If you're just starting out and want a small amount of cocoa beans, I recommend Chocolate Alchemy, but I'm using Uncommon Cacao. Yeah, they sell beans in like large bags. And the other big point for me obviously is taste. Once you make your own chocolate, like I couldn't go back to any other brand because I make my chocolate how I like it, with the flavor profiles that I want, which also has a control part to it, but it's also really the taste. It's just so much more flavorful, the chocolate I make. And so yeah, that's a really, really big point when it comes to chocolate. First thing we have to do is sorting our cocoa beans. Here I have 1,135 grams of beans. And what I'm doing now is sorting out these little flats, so we don't need them. They will not make good chocolate, and they will also be hard later to winnow out. Let's see if I can find another one. Something like this. Doesn't bring us any flavor. Also, something like this I'm sorting out. Oops. Sometimes you also find like little stones or twigs or something in there. Obviously, that's also something you want to sort out. Or something like this where you still have some string on it. Let's do the whole thing away. That's it. So that's what we've sorted out. And now we can roast them. Now we're coming to roasting, and so as you can see, my roaster has a lot of scratches and marks. I also had to replace the motor at some point in time, so I think it's like 5-6 years old. Yeah, I believe. So you will not find this exact same model in a shop, but an updated version. And so this is a coffee roaster, and I'm only showing you this because I think it will help you a lot when making chocolate. You can also roast in a pan or in your oven, but whenever I did it, the end result was just not very consistent. That's why I think if you would want to invest in something like this. So this would be a machine I would recommend you purchase. You can also obviously roast your coffee in this. And yeah, so that's something I would invest in, but yeah, you can also try just a pan or in your oven. So then what I'm going to do is just, whoops, fill up this drum here with my beans. And so the only thing the roaster is doing is basically heating up those elements behind here, and you have kind of a rotisserie chicken situation in there. And roasting is a super crucial step for flavor development. Now I showed you how I set up everything inside, but I'm actually roasting outside because the fire alarm is super easily triggered with roasting. Alright, now we're outside and you see I pressed a little 1 pound button here. I'm adjusting my time to 17 minutes and 30 seconds and I'm pressing the start button. And this profile and this time is specifically for my beans from Uganda that I'm roasting that day. All of my different beans have different roasting profiles and different lengths. So what you will need to do at home is testing your favorite roasting profile. So this might be very different than mine today. It might be shorter, it might be longer, but yeah, this is the profile that I'm using today for my Uganda beans. One thing to mention, after about 75% of the roast, there is a safety feature popping up. So there will be an arrow sign. It says UN and then there's a countdown. When this happens after 75% of the time, you will need to hit the start button. Otherwise, your roast will stop. Okay. Now let these cool down overnight and then we can move on to the next step. For me personally, and probably for all other food vendors in my shared commercial kitchen, the most annoying part of making chocolate is cracking and winnowing. It is loud and it's dusty, but yeah, we have to do it. Now we're moving on to the next step, which is cracking. So I show you how I'm not doing it, but how you can do it at home if you don't have a machine that I will show you in a few seconds. So all we're doing is basically cracking open the beans. So here I have a rolling pin, we have a Ziploc, and we're just going in there. And those are 3 cups of beans. Obviously, you have to do it as long as it takes, basically. But you see that the husk is already like separating from the cocoa nibs. So this is the husk, papery thin shell, and those are the nibs. So that's the good stuff. That's the stuff we want. So this is how you can do it. But I'm doing it with a juicer, with my Champion juicer. I got it from eBay. I believe it must be a lot of years old. I don't know how old it actually is, but it is a very old thing. Make sure to place a bowl here and then feed in here. And I turn it on now and then here it goes. The nibs are falling everywhere, so let me see if I have a better bowl. Usually I have all my equipment in my professional kitchen. And so that's, I've got to figure out things right now. Okay, that's better. So and now that's how it looks like. We have a mix of like husks and nibs in here. And the next step is really important because we need to get rid of this husk here. This is only fiber, so it's totally fine. You can totally eat it. Your body will probably thank you for it. But in our chocolate, it changes the texture if you have too much of the husk in chocolate. So it gets more gritty and the texture is just not super smooth and like how you want your chocolate to be. So we need to get rid of this with winnowing. I will not show you how I do it like in my real chocolate maker life, just because I don't think you will need this machine. So we will just use a hairdryer to get rid of it. And a bowl. So, but yeah, that's the next step, is winnowing. Here we are outside again. If you don't have a garden or a space outside where you can do this, I would recommend trying it out in your bathtub and close the shower curtain. Maybe that's less messy. And here you see me blowing air into the nibs and husks, and because the husks are super light, they just fly out. And I'm using my hairdryer on the lowest setting and shaking it a little bit and going really in there. And there will always be a small amount of husk in your cocoa nib, so that's totally fine. Just make sure you get the most part out of it. And maybe one word about cleaning up later.
cocoa husks are supposed to be really good fertilizer, so yeah, just leave it on your garden, on your grass, if it doesn't bother you.
And that's it for today. The next part will be about grinding your cocoa, and I will also show you 1 or 2 recipes how I make my chocolate. And I would say, yeah, if you are looking for any kind of equipment, I have lists down below. If you have questions, also feel free to leave them in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram at Chocolatier. And that's all. See you next time. Bye.